I've just completed a 2 hours initial situation overview across the city. And what I've observed is that almost every community has some level of water accumulation. In some instances, you have water on the roads about 7 to 8 inches. In some instances, you have water in people's homes, 2 to 3 inches. And then you have water accumulated in some yards. I've also visited some of the outfalls, cokers and sluices, and I've recognized that around approximately 10 hours, the main city council would have started opening those cokers to ensure that water is released off the land. What we'd observe is that water is receding, but very slowly. And with the next high tide approaching around 1700 hours, we had to take all measures to ensure that the water is released. From all indication, based on having some discussion with some of the pump attendants, I was informed around 1400 hours, they will have to start closing the doors of the cokers and the sluices, which means that water will not be able to drain. With the prediction and forecast provided by the hydrometeorological services, there is going to be continuous rainfall up until this evening, which would mean that places that are already flooded, you will continue to see an increase in water. I know simultaneously the Ministry of Public Works set up a special team, and they're looking at the structural assessment to see what else can be done to help to alleviate the flooding. And the Civil Defense Commission, from a social perspective, we're looking at how the citizens are directly impacted and what measure short-term relief can be given to those persons affected. Because of the magnitude of the floods, we would work closely, for example, with the municipality to help identify those worst hit communities and those most affected residents and help support them in providing sanitation and clean items. And what I've observed too, you have an increase in snakes, insects around the place, and at this time it's good for citizens to start disinfecting the area to prevent and keep away insects and snakes. I also want to encourage residents to discourage children from playing in the water to prevent health issues. We also want to encourage residents to stock up on sandbags to start to protect your property, because you also have your own responsibility. So we have to work together, we have to work collectively. All agencies need to come on board. We will be returning now and do our internal analysis and assessment, and we will determine what is the next course of action, if there's going to be a need for the full activation of the National Emergency Operating Center, bringing together all the agency, if there's going to be the need for the actual activation of shelters in those hard-hit areas, and whatever social support that we can give to persons affected. We'll be discussing that and see how we can work with Ministry of Social, Ministry of Human Services, the Mayor City Council, and other agencies, including the Ministry of Health, because at this time the Ministry of Health need to be very vigilant as it relates to taking preventative action to deal with health issues. So we'll continue to monitor. We have our 24 hours National Emergency Monitoring System, which persons can get us on 2261114 and 2261117 and report instances of flood. And with that information, we'll be able to go and do verification and further assessment. If there's any